Hey, what's up, everybody? Championship Leadership Podcast here. I'm excited. I got the Super Bowl champ, Gary Brackett, out of Indianapolis, live with us here today. Had a chance to meet him at our VIP 50 event just a few days ago in Dallas, Texas. He presented. He did an amazing job, and just so glad to have you here. I know you're a busy man, so thank you for taking time to join us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited.
Yeah. So I always start the podcast off with championship leadership. What comes to mind for you? What's present for you when you hear championship leadership? What's that mean to you?
Man, I think it's something that you got to live daily. I just believe, in my life, I've been blessed. I've been, captains, leaders of championship teams. And one of the things that I kind of live by is this whole notion of the speed of the leader determines the rate of the pack.
Yeah.
And when you're in a position of leadership, it's something that's not something that you do sometimes. It's something that you do all the time. And it's not convenient, and sometimes it's uncomfortable. And yes, you're not going to want to. But when you commit to be a leader, you commit to be a leader 100% of the time. And that's what I think about championship and leadership.
Yeah, that's it's an all the time thing, right? Like, which is it's a big responsibility, but for a championship leader, it's probably not really that big of a deal. It's just kind of who you are. But had you experienced that, coming up, playing college football, playing high school football, college football, professionally in the NFL? Like, did you see some leaders that were championship level and some that maybe weren't quite to that level?
No, absolutely. And this crazy part is like, that's the difference of winning and losing.
Yeah.
Like coaching with now businesses and different teams, I go speak to the leaders, and I could tell whether that team's going to be successful or not.
Yeah.
And when that leadership and championship team are led by guys that are optimistic, and we're going to find a way, no matter what we're facing, no matter what type of adversity is, we're going to find a way. Those teams usually find a way. But then you have leaders that the deck is stacked, and then just making excuses. Oh, but we got practice. Can you believe they made us run after practice again? Right? And it's like, wait a minute. You're a leader. You're supposed to be the front of the row. Like, what are we talking about? So those type of teams, I'm like, man, they're going to struggle. Because if this is your leader, then, man, you're going to be in a tough spot.
Yeah. Who are some of the coaches, the mentors that you've looked up to or that have really made an impact on you as a person, as a player, as a leader, as a business owner now? Who are some, maybe one or two that really, really stick out in your mind and that maybe are there for you today?
Coach Mark Denarfield. He was a 34th pick in the Green Bay Packers. He's a linebacker U Penn State guy. He actually tore his hamstring off the bone in NFL. So his career got cut short. So then he was my middle linebacker coach. Okay. We played the game in Rutgers, man. It was some character building days, right? We did not win a lot of games. But we lost one game, no lie. It was like 70 to like 14. We lost this game in West Virginia. And during the game, after the game, we would watch film together. And we're watching film, and it's like third quarter. We're down 40. And then I loafed. I didn't want to play, right? I thought the guy was down. He wasn't. He spent out, ran for a touchdown, and here I am just standing there watching. And he stops the play, and he asks me, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
And I began, man, the guy over there went down 40. They just – like, what does that have to do with you?
Yeah.
Nothing. Like, the only thing you could control is what you could control. And if I was a head coach, if I was your former girlfriend, and I looked at that play, I'm like, this guy's a loser. This guy quits when things get tough.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, it's one of those situations like, I'm never out. Like, if I'm still alive, if I'm still breathing, I'm still fighting.
Yeah.
That's the mentality I kind of learned from him. And then Coach Dungy, I played with Hall of Fame Coach Dungy for 7 seasons in Indianapolis. And he was our head coach, but also was a defensive focused coach. So it'd be appointed times I go to the sideline, and he had this notion of never get too high, never get too low, and always be even keel. And as a leader, he was like, manage your emotions. Like, the guys are counting on you to manage your emotions, and as you go out there and lead, those guys are getting their energy from you. So be conscious of your energy when you go inside the huddle. And that thing always stuck to me. Like every time I go into the room, I'm always conscious of my energy because believe it or not, energy is transferable. And
Mm-hmm.
if you have negative energy, right, that's transferable to everyone else in the room. If you have positive energy, it's the same thing. So that's why I always try to lead with positive energy.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that because that's really interesting, especially in a game like football, where I mean you got some guys running around hyped up all the time, and how do you do that? Like never get too high, never get too low. But I remember you. I don't know, maybe motor is like a different thing, but I just remember you like covering. You were all over the field,
Yeah.
and you got to have a certain level of energy to be able to do that for sure. So yeah, what's that balance? How hard is that? To control that.
So it's like these not saying never get too high, never get too low. It's like it really should be never stay too high and never stay too low, right?
Yeah.
Because there's moments in the game where I was an excitable player, right? If I made a play, my buddy made a play, we're gonna go celebrate,
for sure,
right? But all right, that play is over. We got to line back up. So for me, it was just like one of those situations where I just managed my emotions. Where if a bad play were to happen, if I had a tough conversation with someone, like, all right, now let's go to work. I still believe in you. Let's go to work. And I think the challenge with most championship leaders are I talk to people like I'm having a bad day. I'm like, wow, what happened to your day? This morning, man, this happened. Okay, like what happened to the rest of your day? Nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like, so how are you having you let that 10-minute conversation, that 10-minute incident affect the rest of your 20? Like, are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. So I never have a bad day. I have bad moments. I have tough conversations. But I never treat it to a bad day because I get to dictate, what type of energy I'm gonna have. So for me, it just, recognizing for what it was, dealing with it at that moment, but then going to the next, opportunity.
Yeah, that's critical, and that's probably one of the big distinctions between a championship leader and someone that isn't is being able to handle it's adversity, right? I mean, it's just like we're gonna get hit, we're gonna get knocked back every now and then, but like, what are you gonna do after that? Is it going to affect you the rest of the game, the rest of your day, or not? And what you're saying is like, hey man, that's just part of life. It happens, part of the game.
No, exactly.
Talk to me. So you played in 2 Super Bowls, right? And
mm-hmm.
and you lost the first.
No, we won the first.
You won the first. Okay, you won the first, lost the second. So right. I had those mixed up. What? Just talk about like some of because whether you win or you lose, that's part of life too. And on the world's biggest stage, just so happens that millions of people are watching, and so every little thing that you do is highlighted. But like, what are some lessons that hopefully you extracted to make you a better man, father, husband, business owner outside of the game of football? Like, what are some things that you really taken from probably 2 of the biggest games of your life that help you to move forward today?
Yeah, so for me, it was this thing, right? And we all have this mountain that we want to climb.
Yeah.
First thing I've learned that there's no shortcuts, right? There's no elevator.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone has to go up this path, and it's going to be challenging. And what the beautiful part is, what you recognize when you get to the top is not the glorious part. The glorious part is the journey. And so many people discount the journey and think, oh man, when I get to the top, right? When I get this new business, that's when I'm going to find my purpose and I'm going to be happy. When we get married, that's when we're going to be happy. We're miserable together as a couple, but when we get married, everything's going to change.
Yeah, right.
Yeah? Oh no, we're married and we don't see eye to eye. But when we have that baby, that's really going to fall in love. And we just keep on waiting for that next opportunity. It's like, no, it's the journey in which you have to enjoy. And so many of us don't enjoy the journey, don't enjoy the small little things. And for me, it just, that really gave me, and then also realizing like, it's the championship habits that you build along the way. Those are the things that are repeatable and also sustainable. But so after I left the game of football, it was easy for me. I'm no longer tackling or doing a spin move or chopping, right?
Yeah.
But the mentality is the same, and that's to over prepare. That's to set myself up for success. That's to communicate the game plan and review the game plan and pivot when needed. So all those things that you learn in football, you just apply to your personal life. And it's funny because so many people, when I speak to them, they don't have game plans.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, you go to the great coaches, it's like their first 15 plays are scripted.
Yeah.
Right? The entire we have a whole chart that says on third down, when this happens, this is what we're going to call, this is what we're going to do. And some people in life, and you coach a lot of them, and you ask them, all right, third down, they're 15, what's the call? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like you don't know the call? Like, all right, what's your favorite defense? I don't know.
Uh-huh.
And the first thing that when I work with people and I coach people, and the things that I talk about in my course is just like the first thing we have to identify is your game plan. Like, what's your purpose? What's your mission statement? What's your values? Why are they for your family? Right? What are things? And a lot of times when people find out, it's not money. A lot of people think their purpose is money.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? I don't make a bunch of money. And I promise you, like, yeah, I don't subscribe to the notion that money doesn't make you happy. You're a lot happier with money than you are broke. So let's set the record straight. However, purpose is not going to be tied to money. Purpose is tied to who you are as a person, what things make you happy, what things make you fulfilled, and those things that really everyone should identify, because this life is hard enough and not have a map or not have a plan, right? I mean, it's hard enough with a plan and with a map.
Yeah,
if you don't have one, it's almost impossible.
Right. So what you get a lot of, I hear a lot of stories of like guys making the transition from the game and really struggling. What were there some of those struggles for you? And I would imagine you definitely had some struggles, right? Just like everybody. But how were you really able to carry over success from the NFL, from your football playing days to what you do today? I mean, you're very successful. You got the restaurant franchises, the coaching, and you're continuing to just like move forward with this game plan in mind. But like, yeah, what are some of these? What do you think is lacking for some people? And I think it's, it happens in all arenas, not just like professional athletes, but all areas. There's people that really struggle to make that next step, and others that just seem to be able to continue to move up the escalator like you've been talking about on that journey.
Yeah, I think for me, when I first retired from the NFL, right, 31 years old, my wife is working as a doctor. So she's in medical school, putting in 16-hour weeks. Yeah. And I'm home and I'm golfing every day. And I'm a really bad golfer, right?
You really did go to the golf course?
Yeah. So on the golf course, I got some adult beverages.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying life, man. I'm retired.
Yeah.
And then I come home one day, my 5-year-old, she's looking at my wife, exhausted, going to work with her scrubs on. She's looking at her dad in shorts, coming in, and she says, "Dad, like, what do you want to do when you grow up?" And I was like, "What? Are you out this ring? Like, what are you talking about?" And is that thing that really just reset me. Like, man, what am I? Like, my kids don't know. Like, she was 2 years old when I retired, so she doesn't really have an idea of what I was.
Yeah.
So for me, this whole thing is then going back to school, get my MBA from George Washington, and really focusing on what other tools can I learn? Because what got you here is not going to get you there.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to be willing to say, you know what, I really struggle with some things that I've learned in school, but I played for 9 years in the NFL, and I just never had to use them. So I went back to school, kind of sharpen some of the tools in my toolbox, and that led me to be able to get involved. Initially, I was a silent partner of a restaurant chain called Stack Pickle, and then I brought it outright, and I became the CEO. And going back to school really gave me the ability to sharpen some tools in my toolbox and giving me the wherewithal to run the company, understand how to enforce or implement some of the game plans that I want to have or I want to envision for our company. And that's how I've done it, man. Just believing in myself, believing in the tools that I train to, and also being a constant learner. And that's the thing. Like I don't know it all, and I still make a bunch of mistakes. But I'm willing to make mistakes, and I'm willing to constantly grow because I recognize, and this is clutch. A lot of people view fear as the opposite of success. Right? I mean, they view failure as the opposite of success.
Yeah, right.
They look at it as success and failure.
Yeah.
But really, failure is on the journey to success.
Yeah.
And those people that are successful, those people that figure it out, those people that some of us admire, they just fail faster and more often than we did.
Mm-hmm.
And they recognize and they course correct it. And while we're still stuck in the same spot we are, because, ooh, what if I fail? What if they talk about me on Facebook? Oh no. What if on IG? It's like none of that matters.
Yeah.
So
right.
when you get over yourself, when you get over that, you're not really that much of a big deal. But you're just like, you know what, man, I'm gonna have way more success than failure, and I'm gonna lose every failure as a stepping stone to get me closer to where I want to go.
Yeah, how would you see that? Like, that's a big. I played football, played college football, and so I'm a big fan, and it's like a microcosm of life, right? And so in a game, it's all about adjustments, and in a way, it's just I'm relating this to what you're talking about. Is like you got these failures, you got these things not working out, the game plan's not quite working the way you thought it would or you saw it, and to be able to adjust on the fly, not panic, not be like, oh man, like they just hit us in the mouth and now we got to go home. But no, like, what can we do? How can we take this? How can we react? Like, in your experience, is that what separated some of the best as well, as just that ability to not see those failures as like they're going to lose the game, but like just an opportunity to make some tweaks and some adjustments to find a way to win?
I think for us, it was we use the term short-term memory.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's amazing. Just people in general, I found when I talk to them, when they think of their peers, when they think of their friends, they typically think of all their successes, everything that's great with them. That night that she had all the makeup on and wore the high heels. But then when we think about ourselves, we think about when we woke up in the morning and didn't brush our teeth, and we think about the worst version of ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think even in football, that confidence that when people are on the field and a bad play happen, does that guy just dwell on that bad play for the rest of the game?
Mm-hmm.
Or does he be like, man, but last week the same play, I picked him the other way. So next time I see that pass, I'm going to course correct.
Yeah.
And I think it's that level setting constantly and that internal confidence, not arrogance, but confidence in yourself and your own abilities that's going to tell you, like, nah, man, like, you're pretty badass. Like 300 million to 1. That was the chances of you being a sperm that got to the egg, right?
Right.
So the fact that happened, you were born a champion.
Yeah.
You were born elite. And now your whole life, you're trying to convince yourself, oh, maybe that's not for me. It's like, no, like you were born a champion.
Yeah.
So now it's just you to recognize it and act in that gift.
Yeah, I love it. Let's talk about a little bit about vision, like maybe what your vision is. The greatest, right? Tony Dungy, amazing Hall of Fame coach. I'm sure he had a not only a great vision, but the great ones are able to paint the vision and the path for the team and the players and everyone that's following as well. So, and typically, the championship leaders, their vision is probably not where most are willing to go themselves, and that's the reason they're one of the best. And so for you, yeah, what's your vision for yourself? Let's say even 5 years from now, franchise owner, restaurant owner, business owner, coach, speaker, like impacting people, family. Like, yeah, what's the vision for you next 5 years, 5-10 years?
Yeah, so business-wise, Stack Pickle, we're at 10 corporate stores that I own, 4 franchises, and we're about to close another 4, hopefully this week or next. And that will bring us to 8. So I'm trying to be in position, man, where I have, 60 franchisees underneath my wing in 50 years. And we'll do that with the success of our others that are joining. I think, being able to serve and get some validation from the early franchisees are going to be key
Yeah.
That's business-wise what I want to accomplish there. In the coach's business, GaryBrackett.com, we have a course called Champions Academy. And during our course, some of the stuff that we talked about, I want to help people and I want to give them some tools and templates that they can create this life, that they can create their playbook. Because a lot of people, it says, it sounds great. Where do I start?
Yeah.
So I want to give them some starting tools in order to get them, closer to reach their goals and kind of be there to help them out. And when I always view my life, it was this race, Secretariat. And I think the Preakness, the race horse, he had the record for the fastest time, right, at the Preakness. And not only the fastest time, but each quarter length of the race, it was faster than a previous quarter length.
Yeah.
So when I look at my life, I look at the impact that I want to make. I want it to be more impactful every quarter of my life than it was the previous quarter. Now, how am I going to do that? Well, at some point, I'm not going to be able to do it with myself. But the exponential growth of me helping others, aspiring others, growing other leaders, that's how I get there. So that's what the course was really getting me excited because, coaching for the last 6 months, 7 months, and really coaching my whole life, being the captain of the team.
Right.
Like when you talk to someone and you help them discover that aha moment, man, it lights me up.
Yeah.
Like, because for us, when you're already living in your purpose, when you already recognize who you are, what sets you up, what doesn't, you're good. And you take it for granted that everyone doesn't recognize, everyone doesn't understand that. But when you talk to someone and they get it, they're just like, man, you got a big smile on your face, right? You got a big smile on your heart.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, what I want to do with my coaching career. And then with my family, I'm very active father. So I'm home a lot, coaching my kids, probably a couple more championships.
I love it.
Me and my wife are extremely competitive.
Yeah.
Coach my daughter's basketball team, not coach the flag football team.
Okay.
So, man, just want to, teach them how to be a champion. And even when we lose, I'm like, when we lose, there's a lesson in it.
Yeah.
But what I'm not going to let you do is lose and have regrets because you didn't play hard.
Yeah.
So, my team, I tell the parents, if you're going to play for me, man, I only ask one thing, and that's all you got.
Yeah.
So if they're going to complain, they're going to whine, that's going to be cool with you. But when on the field with me, I'm going to get everything out of them. And if you don't like that, you can go to the league commissioner and ask me my team.
Yeah.
Because I'm letting you know how it goes right now.
Yeah, and parents today, man, they're ruthless when it comes to youth sports, but yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Just like give me everything you got. That's all you need to do. And yeah. When you're speaking at the event here just this last weekend, you said a few things, but I want to ask a question here is like, there's oftentimes some turning points in our life, and there's probably more than one, but some significant moments in life where had you chosen to potentially go down the path that most would choose to go, right? Maybe everybody, the masses are going left. Championship leaders, they're willing to make the decision and go the path that less traveled that most aren't willing to take. Like, is there a moment or two that you can think of that just come to mind? Like, had you gone left, maybe what some would consider the easy decision, instead you decided to take a stand and turn right instead of left. You could be doing something completely different. You might not have been in the NFL. You might not have won a Super Bowl. You might not own these corporate restaurant chains and be expanding like you are and coaching and impacting. Like, is there a moment or two that for you where you decided to make that decision and that stand?
Yeah, man, it's funny, right? Throughout your life, again, there's going to be a lot of those moments.
Yeah.
And I think one reoccurring thing is you have to show up and give it your all, right? All you got. And for me, one of the toughest moments was probably going through adversity with my family.
Mm-hmm.
During my first year in the NFL, I got a call around week 7 that my father just passed away. So now I'm 23 years old. I have to go home and bury my father.
Yeah.
6 months later, my mother goes in for routine surgery, and she dies on a recovery table. So now I lost my mom and my dad in about a 6-7 month span.
Yeah.
At the same time, my brother, who was almost my twin, but he is 3 years older than me.
Okay.
He was diagnosed with T-cell neuroblastic leukemia. So for me, even having to go in to give him a bone marrow transplant, he eventually lost his life a year later. So then in the 6 month span, I lost my father, my mother, and my brother. And it's all 24 years old at this time,
Yeah.
second year in the NFL. And it was one of those moments in life where I wanted to quit. I
Yeah.
had a sister, two brothers at home, about 16 nieces and nephews, and they were going through it.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, man, how selfish am I? Winning these games, going out to steak dinners, celebrating, and my family's home struggling. And I realized something at that moment, and that was how you honor the dead is how you live your life.
Mm. Yeah.
And I would be doing my parents and my brother a huge disservice. Everything they sacrificed, everything they inspired me to be if I was to quit.
Yeah.
And then by me not quitting, by me, channeling all that energy, going out on the field and dominating, becoming the captain, becoming a leader. I led the league in tackles for a few seasons, right, until we got to the end and they pulled the starters. I had the most solo tackles of any player in the Super Bowl against the Steelers. So, I had a pretty solid career. And if I would have decided to quit at that moment, I would have gave everyone else permission. Hey, when things get tough, no matter how much of a champion you are, it's okay to quit. You can fold your hand. And for me, it's just never okay. It's just never acceptable. So I think that's what I really learned. And that was my huge turning point where if I'd have quit, if I'd have, had this, woe it's me, I'm a victim, life shouldn't be this hard. If that was my reality, then none of this would be possible. But I think because I was able to push through, because I was able to persevere, I'm able to stand here tall and tell you, like, man, you can get through anything.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, and thank you for sharing that. And it would have been very justifiable to do that too, right? But I just love, like, the only way you could truly honor these people that you cared so much about was to, like, keep living and not just live, but, like, at the highest level, right? To, like, all I'm asking is all you got, right?
Not much.
Yeah.
Because I'm willing to give you mine. So
yeah.
Oh,
that's incredible. Yeah. Thank you. Well, we can close the time here, and I know you got some things to get to. What are one or two things you could leave with the guests, the audiences, listening in, entrepreneurs, people that just want to get a little bit better inside of their life every single day? Yeah, what would be one or two pieces of advice you could give them to live by?
Yeah, I think so. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, man.
The name of the show, Championship Leadership. And one thing I've kind of learned as a champion leader is the goal is not to create more followers. Your goal is to create more leaders. So the goal is not to create more followers. The goal is to create more leaders. And so many people get misconstrued when they get into a position of power that, hey, everyone follow me.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go down that route, it just gets extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Because then people are always waiting for your command.
Right.
And I think what the great people do is say, hey, this is how you lead. Yeah. And when I'm gone, this is what you do. And this is why we do things the way we do it. So in that position, you get an organization of leaders, of people that can step up to the challenge. Then it just becomes this amazing, powerful organization. And for me in my life, it's just like, man, I want to teach you how to lead. And everyone's like, man, are you going to share all your secrets? Right? In my Champions Academy, I'm sharing all my secrets, everything I know, everything I've been through, good, bad, ugly, or different. And everyone's like, you don't give everybody everything. And for me, it doesn't matter that I'm giving you everything. One, I want you to become a leader. But the second thing, like in a week from now, I'm going to be so much stronger and wiser than I was last week.
Yeah, right.
A month from now, I'm going to have 3 or 4 books that I read, another 5 hours of podcast, another 8 powerful conversations with leaders.
Yep.
So all this stuff is like in my memory bank. So I'm never afraid to give up my advice or my wisdom because it's always going to grow. And I think so many leaders are stuck because they're like, man, well, what if I teach them to lead and they take my job?
Yeah.
Like, well, if you lead from the front and you're always learning and growing, you don't have that problem. Well, that's what
Yeah,
I
I
want.
think you mean that is like, because I always ask like, what's championship leadership to you? And like, I think that right there is the definition of a championship leader. Like, you no scarcity. Like I, I can only go as far as is the leaders that are with us, that are with me, that are pushing us, like pushing me. We're pushing each other, and we're all just like going to one place versus just building a bunch of followers. I love that. That's
Yep.
incredible. Yeah, thank you. What are a few ways that people can find about your coaching program, follow you, yeah, consume you and your content and your incredible message?
Yeah, so GaryBrackett.com is my website. You can go on there to work with me. Championships Academy is on there. You can sign up. The course is now open. Also, Instagram, Gary Brackett, Twitter, Gary Brackett, and also been doing a bunch of speaking engagements. I allocate 3 to 4 speaking engagements a month that I wanted to do with my schedule. So I'm also taking requests on my website at GaryBrackett.com. So I love to share with your organization, or I love to share my wisdom with you through a coaching program.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you coming on and taking some time, man. Thank you so much.
Man, thanks for having me.
You bet.